We're going to have to conclude the hearing, but I just want to make a couple of final points. We will follow up on requesting that Kagame allow an investigative unit, maybe under UN auspices or AU auspices, that would go wherever the evidence takes them, and to interview without fear of retaliation those men and women who have been intimidated. I think, Ms. Margone, you make a very good point about the climate of fear, the use of violence. I remember Greg Simpkins and I, on one trip to Darfur, before we got there, we went to Ethiopia. We met with President Meles. It was soon after several people were gunned down in post-election violence and in an election that was anything but free and fair. And we met with President Meles, who was absolutely dismissive of the violence. It was a matter of fact, when we left, I actually, and Greg and I worked very hard on this, wrote a bill called the Ethiopian Human Rights Act with benchmarks. When the House flipped to Democratic control, my ranking member and good friend, and now sadly deceased, Donald Payne, took it up and it became his bill. It was Payne-Smith. First it was Smith-Payne. And the idea was that we got to be serious about human rights. And I can think of no important issue than protecting people from violence, beatings. I've heard of, almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Henry Hyde type of the face that Kagame gives to the Western world and to, Westerners versus what he does to his own people. And that is really very, very disconcerting, especially since there is seemingly a pattern of extrajudicial killing. So we need to get to the bottom of this. This subcommittee is committed to it. Again, I think at great risk to yourselves, you have come forward. Ms. Higuera, I just can't say how deeply I respect you, as well as you, both of you, for coming forward. I'm sure the other human rights groups would love to operate freely and in an unfettered fashion. You're not. You're trying, and we all appreciate that. But there is risks to the people who bear witness to the truth. So thank you again for that work you're doing, Ms. Margone. We are going to follow up on this. I hope to hear back from the State Department on what they're doing. Again, Ambassador Jackson made some very good comments about their concerns, but we got no sense as to what the return mail showed. When we raise these issues, how do we do it? He said one was done on the fringes of another of the African meetings here. That doesn't cut it. This should be our ambassador. This should be our top people at our mission as well as the Assistant Secretary and right up to the Secretary level, even President Obama, raising these issues face-to-face with details about individuals. So human rights get short shrift. I've been in this Congress 35 years, and I get so angry, and that's the only word to describe it, whether it be China or Rwanda, or as it was even under the Bush administration in Ethiopia, when we just, Meles was able to claim, a robust commitment to peacekeeping, but that doesn't provide a whitewash for serious human rights abuse. We welcome that, that they're deploying peacekeepers, but it's not a whitewash and can never be so construed. So, yes.
One final point, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your leadership. I think this committee would be interested in finding out why Mr. Higiro was dishonorably discharged. Once you find that out, then, Mr. Chairman, ask yourself this question. Somebody who is dishonorably discharged, would this be the same individual given a task to go and commit an assassination? Let me just say very clearly that needs to be taken with a grain of salt, big time.
When you are the focus of a government retaliation or a death threat, whistleblowers don't fare well anywhere, whether it be the United Nations, where many have been summarily dismissed, and I have held hearings and done work along those lines to protect those who speak out against corruption at the United Nations, or within our own U.S. government. We're always passing new laws, enhanced protections for whistleblowers, because they get the back of the hand anywhere in the world, including in the UN or the United States, and I would respectfully submit in Rwanda as well. Again, we have credible newspapers. BBC is a credible news media organization that have looked into this and come out with articles and recordings. They get retaliated against too. So let's not forget that. That Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if there are death squads being deployed to kill the diaspora and the political opponents, or as you said, Mr. Mbara, the phase two, even others, we need to get to the bottom of it. And we owe it to the Rwandans who deserve not a country where there's a climate of fear, but where there's a robust democracy where human rights and economic prosperity go hand in hand. So thank you for your testimonies. The hearing is adjourned.